tres, dos, uno. Boom! What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the MindBuzz podcast, where we talk to all your favorite
You try to memorize.
Damn it. Dang it. All right, I'll just read it, okay? Welcome to the podcast that gives you interesting stories of today's culture. Talking with your favorite artists. Today we're going to be talking to our favorite archivist. Actually, we also talk to entrepreneurs, musicians, and all the cool people just like you. Yeah, that's right. You watching, you listening, all that good stuff. We got to remember that the MindBuzz is partnered with MyGrito Industries, which is a Latino and Chicano independent record label, art collective, and podcast network. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't just the MindBuzz on the podcast network. We got Emo Brown, Chicano Shuffle, West Coast Pop Lock Podcast, and now Tragos Amargos. Season 2 is coming up. Hopefully they do a Chalino Sanchez episode for that one. So I'm happy to for that one to come out. So from comedy to radio personalities, MyGrito has you covered when it comes to podcasts. So add these other great podcasts to your weekly podcast lineup, because we love podcasts. You guys are watching podcasts right now. You eat, breathe podcast just like me. So why not add those to your lineup? Cool. And we got to remember the MindBuzz podcast is powered by MindBuzz Media, an on and off-site audio and video podcast production company. So have you ever thought about starting your own video podcast? Just go down to mindbuzz.org, go down to the link, check it out. And you want to have a cool podcast like this? Hit us up. We'll help you. We'll take care of you. Anything else, Amber?
Yeah, we have some events coming up. This Saturday, come hang out with us and Chicano Shuffle to celebrate their 6th year anniversary, their Pachanga. It's going to be in Highland Park on Saturday. And just come out. It's fun. On Friday, if you guys like our intro and outro song, it's by Bad Hombres. Some friends of ours and fellow MyGrito mates. They'll be having a show on Friday at 8 p.m. at Wing Walker Brewing. So go out, have a beer.
In the city of Monrovia.
Yeah. And then we have an open mic at the end of the month. It's Halloween themed. So come out and support poets, musicians, dancers. What else do we have? Comedians. We have it all. Come out and support them. Watch them do their talents. And if you want to participate, hit us up.
And if you just want to just come hang out with me and Amber, then just come hang out with me and Amber. We're going to be in costumes. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's it. What else? Oh, I got one more thing that we got to talk about. You love me on the MindBuzz, right? I just know it. But go to Copy and Steal on YouTube. They had me on their podcast. It's a San Diego-based podcast. Very cool insights. If you want to hear me nerd out on podcast stuff, equipment, just overall podcast in general, theory. There is a podcast theory. And
podcast theory?
Yeah.
I got to go listen to it because I haven't. I'm sorry.
The support in this room is... I love it. But go check it out, please. Copy and Steal podcast on YouTube. Hear me nerd out. Just go check it out. Go give them a follow, a subscribe, all that good stuff. Go support. It's good to support friends and podcasts in your community. But other than that, what else do we got? That's it, right?
That's all. That's
All right.
all, folks. Have a
That's
good night.
all.
Just kidding.
Of course not, because we got the
I'm just kidding.
we got the one and only Javier Servin Californiography.
Woo.
What is up, sir?
What's up, man? What's up? I definitely hear the love and support from Amber on that.
I live with the man. I listen to his voice 24/7. Come on, can you blame me?
I can't blame you, but I have a grievance that I need to bring up.
I already know what it is, Javier. I already know.
But the thing is, I think I speak for the people, and I'm looking at the camera here. I know I speak for the people. The people want an Amber cam. And hear me out, though. You guys have seen The Warriors, right? The movie The Warriors. There's the radio DJ, and all you see is her lips, right? So she gets on there. She's like, hey, you cool cats that are out there. The Warriors are heading up the subway over to Coney Island. You know, whatever. You just need one of those cameras for Amber, where you just see Amber's, just her mouth. Just that's it. If you don't want to be fully on camera, just give us the Warriors cam for Amber.
Hey,
okay. This is it.
Yeah, this is it right here.
I had braces for 4 years, so I got some.
Yeah, you got some good.
Teeth, so I got some good chompers.
Good chompers. I was gonna say knockers. That would have been not good. Okay, that's cool. That's doable.
Yeah, right?
Amber, you just have to put makeup on half your face. So we're saving money there. I like it. Okay. Okay. I dig that.
Yeah.
It's because look, once I give in, I'm giving in. It's one of those things where it's better kept.
You want to keep the mystique.
Yeah, there you go.
Or you could be on camera wearing a mask. And, you know, and then every time you come out, it's a different mask. You know, you can make that a thing. You know, I just had to air the grievance, man, because I just, you know, I know a lot of people asked about it, and I was like, I need to bring it up.
It is really like it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I tell you, like I watch the podcast religiously. I've seen the people come on and say, "Hey, Amber, you know," and I'm like, you know what? I need to bring it up again. So so anybody else that comes on, just keep bringing it up.
There you go.
I'm a Scorpio, guys.
He's gonna start a union.
I don't give in that quickly.
He's gonna start a movement. That's what's gonna happen.
That's funny.
Signs and everything. He's gonna go on strike.
Think about it.
That's terrible.
He's not gonna come on our podcast until I have a cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
I'm about to walk out right now.
The walkout.
The walkouts.
And you get like a hold. I don't know how you do this, but you'll get a hold of all our people that we have booked. and you're just like, okay,
our calendar.
Okay, when I text you, this is when you walk out.
Exactly.
You walk out.
It's
20 minutes.
It's not even that hard. Just be like, hey, 5 minutes into the podcast, just walk out. That's it.
Javier rents the apartment next to us, just so you can be close.
That'd be awesome. But think about it. Give what the people want.
I'll think about it, guys.
All right, she's in a thinking mood, lady.
Let me lose 10 pounds.
Hey, we gotta let's think about it. So that's progress.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
that's it, dude. There you
know
go.
why? You know why I haven't done it? You want
Why?
me to be honest?
Be honest.
Because my background is shit.
Okay.
The last time you did.
Also, you put it on me now.
The last time you did a
It's
video,
my fault.
Yeah, it is your fault. Last time you did a video and I looked like I was in fucking prison. So I'm not gonna put my face on looking like I'm in jail.
Okay, let's hash this out right now. What type of background will suit you?
I don't know. Maybe I want a brick wall like you.
Oh, okay. That actually would be cool. All right, let me look at.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'll make it happen, and you know that.
I know.
It's easy. I can do it. Okay.
All right, come on. We're not here for me. We're here for Javier.
All right. Well, we just had to hash out that little issue that's going on. But how you been, man? Thanks for coming out and doing the podcast like always.
Of course, man. I'm always honored to be out here. Like I said, I'm watch all the time, dude. I'm so proud of you guys, just killing it, and you know, like sincerely, like I'm fucking proud of you guys. Shout out to Sergio from Churros y Puros podcast for hooking us up. You know,
The dude,
you know, way back when, because you guys have become, you know, friends, And it's just great to see you guys killing it, man. I'm proud of you guys.
Thanks, man. I
we
appreciate
enjoy
it.
hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
honestly.
of course.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. We went a little Selena
Fest.
cover fest.
Oh, and then we went to
the Beatles.
The Beatles.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So no, it was fun. But like I said, yeah, I'm really proud of you guys, and so yeah, I'm glad to be out here. Glad that you think I'm interesting enough to bring me out again.
Of course,
Heck
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't. Even after we stop the recording, we're usually hanging out here for a bit, anyways.
And we keep talking.
After we keep talking.
before. We can talk. We're all talkers,
Yeah.
so conversation never ends.
Definitely.
But big shout out to Sergio for linking us up together. Sergio, I miss those days where you just walk into my job unannounced and
getting a big coffee and talk to him for an hour,
had a
taking him
big-
away from his desk for an hour.
dude, the last time he came to hang out, it was just, I don't know, he knew where our office was and everything. He was like, "Hey, I'm here." I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?" But yeah, he came in and he sat on. We have a little couch right there in our office. He sat down. We talked for about an hour. Right, that was the last time he was there. The time before that,
You guys talked out in the lobby.
we went out to the lobby. I had coffee with them, and we were just
He was coming like
goofing
weekly.
around. He was,
Yeah,
yeah,
but he moved jobs.
yeah. He moved jobs, so we weren't in the route anymore. But yeah, we miss you, buddy. Come on back. Come back. Baby, come back. But bro, how you been? How's the podcast going? How's your projects?
So I'll be honest with you, man. Like the last few months, like mental health wise, have been like really bad for me. It's one of those things where it's like you get in a funk and it's kind of hard to get out of it.
Right.
So the last few months of have been bad with the funk, but luckily now I'm feeling a lot better. So I posted a trailer last week for the channel, and that just got me motivated to go out. And so I've been filming. The podcast kind of went from the wayside because being in the funk, but the videos are coming back for sure. Like I got 3 in the works right now. I got one that I'm going to be releasing this weekend, and then hopefully I'm gonna try to get on the 1 or 2 week kind of schedule to post. But I've been doing a lot of research, just not a lot of putting stuff together. But yeah, it was rough. It was a rough few months, with that, just kind of like I said, just being in the funk, just not feeling good, like kind of not wanting to do anything, being like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then just sleeping all day, kind of thing. But luckily, thankfully, I'm out of it, and I'm
cool, man.
Motivated, so I'm feeling good. So there should be more videos coming soon, and maybe a podcast episode.
Oh, there we go. I'm glad because I really enjoy your stuff. It's, I mean, obviously it's you, your friends, your family, but also the stuff that you post is really fucking cool and it's interesting and it's history. And me and Amber love history.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm still doing research on this. So I had a whole bunch of stuff. It's just putting it together, but yeah, I'm putting it together. I mean, I'll let you guys know what the next video is coming out this weekend. Get a little exclusive.
Yeah.
You guys are familiar with Vernon, the city of Vernon?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys know the Farmer John Mural?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the next video this weekend.
I'm all excited.
Yeah, it's on the history of the Farmer John Mural.
Oh,
because that place
cool.
has a really fascinating history.
Can we look up the mural right here?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen
Isn't it a slaughterhouse?
Yeah. So that's the funny. So I mean, I'm gonna post the video, but
He's like, I'm not gonna tell.
No,
I'm not telling the whole
it.
history.
I know, not the whole thing.
I'll give you
Bro.
No, hey, you guys, it's for you. It's all good. I'll give you the
Just a little bit. Don't.
I'll give you the nickel tour.
There
as
we
they
go.
say. So basically, the Farmer John Mural started because there was this guy. His name was Leslie Grimes. He was a set painter in Hollywood, and one day he walked to Farmer John and he was like, "Hey, you guys have any work for me that I can do?" And they were like, "Sure, you can paint. What do you do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a set painter. He painted sets in Hollywood." And they're like, "Yeah, you can paint the wall outside." And they thought he was going to paint it like blue. And he started painting a mural with like pigs and stuff, and at first they were kind of like, it's kind of weird, we slaughter pigs here, it's kind of weird, but people that would drive by were like, "Hey, this is great," like because Vernon is all industrial. There's like there's only like 200 people that live there, But during the day, there's like 50,000 people that work there, because it's strictly an industrial place. So, he started painting it. People started complimenting him on the mural, and they hired him on. And he spent 11 years painting the mural.
Wow.
He actually died painting it. He fell off a scaffolding on the south side.
Oh my God.
50 feet to his death.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he was only half done, and then another guy took over. His name was Arno Jordan from San Bernardino, and he started painting it. He took over like 2 years later, and he painted it until he couldn't anymore. He painted it to like the late 90s because he was like coming down like kind of sick. And then back in 2000, they did a restoration. So the mural that's there now is practically a brand new mural because unfortunately the Arno and Leslie used house paint to paint a mural, and you know that's not with all the chemicals and stuff in the air, it just wouldn't last. So they did a restoration, sort of brand new mural in 2000, but yeah, the plant closed this year in February. Like they closed it down and it got sold in July. So who knows if they're gonna keep that wall around, because you know how it is here. People don't care about history; they just tear it down, kind of build it back up. So if you haven't seen it in person, I recommend sooner than later because it's probably not gonna last. But yeah, so that's the videos coming out this weekend. About
cool.
that. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
We gotta go so you can see it go.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it hundreds of times.
I wonder how that conversation started, like for the second person doing the paint job. Hey bro, can you finish the mural, because the guy that started it died, fell off a ladder 50 feet to his death.
Yeah, no, well, it was like 2 years later. Apparently there was like one of his friends sold industrial flooring, and he sold it to the Farmer John people. And he saw that they had a mural that was like half done, and he's like, hey, my homie like paints murals. And so they're like, oh, we'll bring him over. And that's pretty much how it went. But I'm sure that fool stayed away from 50-foot ladders.
So was it 11 years consistent?
Yeah, that was his art. That Leslie Grimes, who was the original guy. He spent 11 years, and like I said, he only got halfway through it. I mean, like I said, it's 30,000 square feet.
Wow.
It's pretty much like 3 city blocks, because it goes Soto, which is the main street. That's the longest part of the mural, and then the other kind of side streets is a little smaller. But on one side, the factory goes behind the LA River, so that thing's like massive. And then he also painted a lot of the buildings that kind of face out towards the public, so he painted that too. But yeah, he spent 11 years and he only got halfway done.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So real quick, for some of our newer listeners that maybe haven't listened in or seen any of our old episodes, or past episodes of Javier, you are what are you?
So hey, I said, I'm just a dude that loves history, man. I love California history. On my day job, I'm an archivist. I work in an archive at a studio, but I also I do history, like California history content. When I'm in my spare time. I have a degree in history, and I graduated from UC Merced. A shout out to the Bobcats. With a bachelor's with an emphasis on technically it was world history, but my thesis was on California history because it was before California became part of the U.S. I just post stuff that interests me, So like I've done videos on. I love programmatic architecture, which is where you have buildings that look like whatever you're selling inside. So I have videos on the giant tamal in East LA.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs out in Cabazon. Vandicamps, because I'm a huge fan of Vandicamps. So it's just pretty much, trying to keep it in the spirit of like Foo Howser, because I'm a huge Foo Howser fan. So that's why online I go by Foo Howser, because, I made a video that went viral, and it got picked up by Foo's Gone Wild, and somebody called me Foo Howser. So I was like, I'm run with it. So.
Oh man, the good old internet, huh?
Yeah, no, I was like, man, that's genius.
The birth of Foo Howser.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome, dude.
So, okay, I'm like,
yeah, no, hit me.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We gotta fight.
I'm gonna fight you, Gil. Me first.
Okay, go.
No, because we always have this conversation, especially in the car, because obviously, like, I'm always in the passenger seat, right? So I have more access to looking out, right? I'm not on my phone. I'm not like looking just straight ahead.
My eyes are always closed.
His eyes are always closed. No, because you're always focused.
Yeah.
And so I get to see around, right? I look around. That's the only way that I know freaking directions is like, hey, turn right on the fucking Jack in the Box or, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's not where I'm going at. What I'm getting at is the other day we were in, where were we? Oh, we were in Silver Lake, right? We're passing like Pasadena and we're going to Silver Lake. And anyways, anytime I go to like LA or even like, well, no, Redlands they take care of them a little better. But let's say like LA, right? And I see these like houses, like the Victorian houses and everything. And I tell Gil, like, that's my dream. My dream is to own like an old freaking spooky, I want to get haunted every night house. Like that's my dream, right? To restore it and just make it look beautiful and live in it. But it pains me so much to drive by homes, by buildings, by things like that you can tell at one point had its like freaking glory, right? It was beautiful. The architecture, the rivets on like the buildings, where you can tell like the infrastructure, the molding, like that's what I look at, right? He's driving and I'm looking at like, oh my God, look at the molding. And he's like, I can't see. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm looking up.
Or
like
she's looking up something on TikTok and she's like, hey, take a look.
Look at
hey,
this.
look at this.
Like,
I'm just
look
like,
at it.
no, put it over here.
But I, because you said earlier in the show, like just like all things, people tear it down or destroy it or want to put something over it. Why do you think that I mean, obviously I know you're not going to have the full answer, right? But like in your perspective, why do you think that we do that? Why do you think that there's not as many people that maybe feel like we do, right? Like this like sense of nostalgia and even just like beauty behind it. Why do you think that it's going that way?
Yeah, I think the thing it's just a lot of times it's people that go into these neighborhoods and they have no idea about the significance of these buildings, and they're just like, well, I want to build my mansion here, so I'll just tear it down. Like that, like you run across that all the time, especially now with a lot of people that are like, investors, people that are foreign, that are not from here, that, people that are like, have oil money or businessmen from other countries or, whatever. They buy these, like, I mean, it just happened fairly recently where somebody bought Marilyn Monroe's last house, like I don't think it's the one that she died in, but it was a house that she owned. I think it was in Brentwood or something. And the person that bought it was going to tear it down to like build a mansion. And people were like, dude, you can't do that. It's Marilyn Monroe's, like, whatever. And so people fought and they actually, got it to have some sort of like historic designation to like protect it. But it's like, dude, I mean, if I had enough money to buy Marilyn Monroe's house, why wouldn't I want to preserve it the way Marilyn did? I mean, Lucille Ball's house, the person that bought Lucille's Ball house, they tore that down.
What?
So it's just the thing is, people that have, a lot of times with people that have that money, they don't care, and it's a lot of times it's like vanity. It's like, oh, it's my house now, so I can do whatever I want with it. But then also too, I think it's just people are just they don't see the value in history or preserving things. And that's what I'm trying to do with my platform, is sort of like get people interested in history. And like everything that I talk about is something that's tangible, so it's something that you can go see, that you can taste, that you can hear, that you can feel, because I feel like having that connection to the past with something that's tangible kind of brings that history alive. So I think if people are exposed to that more, I think it makes them a little more interested to be able to be like, oh, like I'm standing here where Marilyn Monroe lived, and maybe I should restore the house and make it, beautiful. And I mean, I know Amber's gonna make it to where she's gonna have her Victorian home like she wants. She's gonna be able to restore that how she wants it. So when you do invite me over, because I want to sleep over and try to just don't bust out a Ouija board, because I don't mess with that.
We want a full dissertation on that property that we get.
Of our home, please.
Yeah. In a circle with the Ouija board. Have you ever messed with one of those before?
Nah, dude. That's the one thing is like, so I always say, I tell people I'm a skeptical believer. When I was a kid, I used to read all paranormal books. Like I went to the library in Huntington Park and I read all the books on ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, as I've gotten older, I'm a skeptical believer. I've had a lot of stuff happen to me when I was a security guard that I can't explain. That's the only time that I tell people that those are things that I'm like, look, this happened to me. I don't know if it was a ghost or not, but it's something that I tried to like find an explanation for it, and I couldn't find it. But that being said, skeptical believer, I just don't fuck with the Ouija board. I ain't trying to have anything follow me or,
that's
whatever.
that's what they say, that once you start messing with it, then you're opening yourself up to that realm.
Yeah, I'm not trying to invite any ghost, to come over to my house.
Do you ever feel like, because I mean, I think I'm kind of like you. I don't believe it until I see something. Not that I want anything to pop out of me, but until I see it with my
I'll show you. Go get the Ouija board right now.
With my own two eyes, then I'll believe it, right? But have you ever in any of these sites that you've gotten, because obviously you go to really historic places that, maybe not very nice things have happened and, or things like that. Like, have you ever had experiences where you feel anything like?
Not in these places that I've been to. Like, but like I said, when I used to be a security guard at night, like I had stuff happen to me where I can't explain it. Like I remember there was like one time I was sitting at the guard shack, and there's no way for anybody to sneak up on you. It's like there's a door over here, but nobody can sneak up on you. And I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden I hear somebody go, "Hey." They whispered, and I felt the breath on the back of my neck, and I felt it right here. And I stood up, and I looked outside the door, and I looked up and down because like maybe somebody's there. Nobody behind me. I'm like, I can't explain that. I was wide awake. I wasn't half asleep or whatever. I was wide awake. I can't explain it. What was that? Was it a ghost? I don't know, but it was something that I can't explain. You know what I mean? So, and then another time, I actually saw like an orb, like a ball of light, just kind of floating in the air, probably about like tennis ball sized, floating in the air, and just happens to be in a blind spot. We didn't have cameras there, but you see me on camera running this way and then running that way because I was trying to catch up to it, trying to see if I could see it from the other side. But that didn't come out. But again, like, was it a ghost? I don't know. It could could it have been the rare ball lightning kind of thing?
Yeah,
maybe. Because I had that thing where
or like reflection from like a light or something going on with your
like
retina.
That. Because the only reason I say that I know is a light because it like illuminated. So like I was looking down on my phone in the dark, and then I got illuminated, so I knew it was the light.
Oh,
but again, I don't know that it was necessarily paranormal or whatever. And there was another time where I was really sick when I was doing my rounds, and I finished my rounds, and I went and I like laid down somewhere. And I was sitting there, and then I hear people like arguing, and I heard like muffled, argument, whatever. And I was, oh man, I got to get up, see what the hell this is. And then I hear it coming from upstairs, and I was like, yeah, there's no upstairs. like I'm on the top floor.
Oh,
and I was like, and I like stopped, and I could hear that it was a man and a woman, and it was very heated, but I couldn't make out what they were saying, and it was very muffled. And then I got up and I went out and trying to see. And as soon as I walked out, trying to like walk down the hallway, whatever, it stopped. So it's like things like that. Like, is it possible somebody was arguing on the roof of that place? Maybe, but it's really hard to get up there. You know what I mean? Without anybody knowing that you're up there, because all the access to the roof are alarmed. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, you go and say, hey man, did the alarm get tripped? That, whatever. Nah, man, it's still, whatever. So it's like, like, okay, what was that? Was it me maybe waking up from sleeping and half dreamed it, half whatever? Right. Like, you can't explain it. But I've had that happen when I was a security guard. I haven't had any of that happen at these places I've been to, but I've definitely heard stories about these places that I've been to where, people claim that certain things happen. But if you believe in that, the paranormal kind of stuff, I mean, obviously somewhere where somebody lived, somebody died, people are buried. I mean, if you believe in that, it's going to be haunted,
Right.
Very true.
Like, you mean like haunted in a sense of like there's ghosts there, or just like energy in general? I
mean, it depends on how you define it. I mean, obviously I feel like, it's kind of those things where it's like, we're all made of energy kind of thing, and energy can't be destroyed. It has to go somewhere kind of thing. So I know a lot of, like, it's going back to when I was reading all those paranormal books when I was a kid. They tend to think that, like, there's like different types of like hauntings, right? There's like what they call residual hauntings, where it's like, so it's almost like a videotape being played all the time. So it's like something happened that like imprinted that person's energy in that place. And for whatever reason, they just keep doing the same thing. So it's like, it could be somebody walking down a hallway. And for whatever reason, every day at, 2 a.m, people see somebody walking down a hallway, or they hear footsteps, or, whatever. And it's just because for whatever reason, that energy was imprinted at that time. And it's just something that's just, what they call it, like, it's like a not intelligent haunting, basically. It's just something that just happens all the time. And then you have the ones where, people communicate with it. It's like you say, hey, can you knock on the door 2 times? And it'll knock on the door, or, it'll talk to you, or, whatever. So that's what they call like intelligent, like hauntings or whatever. And then you have like your poltergeists, right? Where, there's something like...
Oh my God.
Yeah, no. And like I said, when I was a kid, I used to read all about that. Like, poltergeist activity tends to center around people going through puberty for some weird reason. Like that was one of the like theories, is that they noticed whenever they have like poltergeist activity, it was usually like, usually girls that were going through puberty, sometimes boys, but for whatever reason, they felt that it was something with them going through the hormonal changes and whatever that would cause, these things to happen, beds being shaken, knocking on the doors, that kind of stuff. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm a very skeptical, believer. It's like, if I don't see it, if I can't, cause I had that when I was a security guard, people were like, oh man, this place is haunted over here. And I'm like, let me go check it out, and then they'd be like, oh dude, I just fucking heard something. And I go in there and it's a fucking possum, or, fucking rat or whatever, So, I remember one time somebody said that, there was somebody told me this story that supposedly it was a haunted typewriter, that like they would hear like typewriting at night or whatever. And they went up there, and it just happened that when that person left for the day, like they hit some button and it just got stuck, and it just kept typing. But the dudes at night were too scared to go check, So
it just kept on going off.
So they were just like, oh yeah, it's haunted,
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, usually if there's something that you can explain, then
and that's what I try to do is try to logically like go through like and that's so when I tell people the things that happen to me that I can't explain, it's because I went through A, B, C, and I can't explain it,
Yeah.
Right.
But I always leave it up. I always leave that thing open where it's like it might have just been, something explainable.
Yeah.
I like what you say. Like what did you say?
A skeptical believer.
A skeptical believer.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with my mom always saying, and I think maybe part in this is like because we didn't grow up with like religion or anything, so we didn't really believe in like, like an entity or anything like that. So there was nothing for us to kind of piggyback off of, I guess. And my mom would always say, there's something logical behind every noise. Don't be scared. Get up. Go look for it. And that was always us. There was a noise and my mom would get up. Or there was a noise and then I'd get up. And I'm the type that can walk in the dark. I can, I don't have to turn on a bunch of lights. I can watch something scary and I can go to sleep. And, but so for the entirety of my life, that's how I grew up. I was never scared. I was never like anything like that. But when I went to Japan, I'm like, when I went to Japan, and I still say it, something about Japan, I don't know, it made me feel like I had been there before. Like I had been there before and in a different time, like a different era. Like there was something like lethargic about Japan, and almost this feeling of like me being in this like different like
even when we got back too, we got back, I just felt like we went through some weird like reality change.
Yeah, reality something.
But then it also could be just us coming back from a different country.
Yeah, I mean,
we were there
lag
for jet lagged.
Yeah.
But
I had edibles on the airplane.
But
that too.
I've experienced jet lag before because I've traveled before Japan, and I've never felt that. It was this thing where every time I was in Japan, I was like, I know this place. Like, I've been here. I've this. I've that. Going into elevators, it felt like, whoa, like something weird. Like, or I'd be walking down the street and all of a sudden it was like back into consciousness. Like it was really just weird. This weird. And I'm telling you, I'm the type that's like, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in anything like that. So we were telling someone that we knew the other day, or that we know, because he believes a lot in ghosts and paranormal stuff, and he's always like, he's a pretty like scared adult. But I was telling him that we were in like a really old part of Japan. We had gone to a temple, and then we were like in this like, you know, like historic part of Japan, because a lot of Japan is New Japan, right? What they call. And there was these like this tile that was, so there were these pictures that were made with tile along like a building. So kind of the building was in the corner. So Gil was like, hey, take a picture of me. And I was like, okay. And mind you, Japan streets are tiny, right? And there's cars and motorcycles and things passing by and everything. So he's taking the picture, and I mean, he's standing in front of the building, and I'm taking the picture, and I'm backing up, right, to get like the perfect angle. And I feel something push me, and I thought I ran into a person. So I turn around and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like that was like my first thing. And I turn around and there's nothing behind me. And literally a second later, this motorcycle zooms by, boom, right where I was standing. And again, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't. And I was just one of those things where I felt it. Like I felt the nudge. I felt like it wasn't like a little air. It wasn't a little breeze. It was like a full on like move.
Yeah.
And I moved. And ever since I came back from Japan, I'm that word that you use. Like now I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know what I felt. I can't explain it. There was nothing logical.
Was that the first time that something like that ever happened to you? Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe even now, I guess maybe I'm trying to justify it where I'm like, okay, maybe it was subconsciously my body knowing that there was something behind me, and it, you know, something triggered in my body for me to move. I don't know. Like those are the things that I try to tell myself, because a ghost is just,
yeah, no, I mean,
it's too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I mean, as much as we try to say that we know everything as humans, you know, because I mean, I'm agnostic. I'm not really big into like religion, you know, whatever. But even then, I'm agnostic because I can't say for certain that, you know, there is no God or there is a God, you know, kind of thing. It's one of those, like, I just don't know, you know? So it's like one of those things where it's like, there's things that we just don't know. And, you know, you try to find an explanation for it, couldn't come up with one. And it's like, hey, you know, it just, something shoved you. What it was, who knows? Was it a ghost? Was it, you know, your guard, you know, you believe in guardian angels, or like you said, maybe it was just, you know, your body, you know, that somehow just kind of like,
trying to protect you,
and telling you to
trying
move,
to protect
to move
herself.
forward. Yeah, and then you just felt like it was a shove.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like I would say, like, yeah, like just go with that skeptical believer thing, where it's just like, hey, you know what, like this happened to me. I don't know what it was, but I know it's something that's weird that I can't 100% explain.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I came back, because I kept feeling like that, and then I started looking up, you know, why I always Google like the most, like, the way that I think about it in my brain is how I Google it, right?
She's a perfect person for this job that we have back here.
Because I just like, I write it out the way that I'm thinking about it, even if it sounds stupid. But I Googled, like, is Japan haunted? Is there, and it was saying that Japan is like one of like the top haunted countries in the entire world because of all the tragedy that happened. In Japan. So they're saying that like old Japan, because of everything that happened and all the people that passed away and everything, and they were saying that there was so much rubble, so much like things that were destroyed.
Through the atomic bombs, right? It was a Hiroshima and
Nagasaki.
So they were saying that there was so many people that their own flesh and like they themselves were melted into the floor.
Right.
To where they couldn't extract them. They couldn't take bones. They couldn't give them proper burials. There was people that just turned into dust, you know? Like, so they're saying, like, all they did was they tried to remove all the debris and rubble, but they built on top of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's one of those things where, like, so when I used to read all the paranormal books, it's like one of those things where they're like, one of the things is like guaranteed haunting is when somebody died a sudden or tragic death. You know, because it's one of those things where it's like, you know, they don't know that they're dead. You know, it's just, it happened so quick. You know, it was something very traumatic or something that happened quickly, or it was a very painful death or something very strong emotional attachment. Like that's one of those things where they tell you that, you know, and somewhere like that where you have atomic bombs or the tsunami that hit, where it was just something sudden, where so many people lost their lives suddenly and tragically. If you believe in that theory, then I mean, yeah, of course that place is going to be haunted because they're not at peace. And I know Japanese culture, they believe a lot in like revering your ancestors and sort of like giving people proper burials and making sure that their souls are at rest. So something like that. Yeah, I can imagine that if you didn't know it was coming and happened suddenly, I mean, there might be a lot of, again, if you believe in that, there's a lot of spirits that are just kind of hanging around waiting for somebody to help them, cross over to the other side.
Yeah, that Bruce Willis Sixth Sense kind of scenario going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Damn.
Or even the others, remember?
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah, that's another one too.
Wait, I don't want to give it away for anyone that hasn't watched it. But...
Nah, I'm sorry, man. It's been years.
It is. It's been like
yeah, it's been way too long, huh?
it's been like 55 years. If you haven't seen that movie already, then
Bruce Willis was dead the entire time.
oh, and the others, yeah, they were dead the whole time
The
too.
whole time.
But yeah, those are great. I mean, but I don't know. Like I've had so many things happen to me. It's just like it's unreal. But I was introduced to the Ouija board. I think like something like 11 years old, 12 years old. I had an older cousin, April, that she liked all that stuff.
Yeah.
She would take me to cemeteries. She'll take hey, bring a friend. I'm like, oh yeah. How am I gonna explain to my friends? Parents, hey bro, we're gonna pick them up at 9 p.m. and we're gonna go hang out in the Pomona Cemetery for the night. Like it's hard.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But yeah, I just now that I'm with Amber. Oh shit, I'm with Amber and like she turns me on into the whole science stuff. Like I'm right. You can say I'm getting a little bit better with the dark and watching spooky stuff at night. Right before I couldn't do it, man. Like I lived with I lived by myself for so long that I used to just spook myself.
Yeah.
I used to just watch spooky things. Even aliens used to creep me out. I absolutely love like the whole UFO stuff. I gravitate towards it, right?
Yeah.
But it still spooked me the fuck out at night when I was by myself.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely, because, shit, like, if you're going to get abducted, you want to have company.
Right?
Like, no.
I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Leave him alone.
But there are some weird things that have happened too, like just standing outside and just looking up at the sky, like when it's pitch black, and just knowing that feeling that something could be out there.
I mean, it's kind of very egotistical of us to think that we're the only smart, intelligent, and people are like, why don't they come visit us? I'm like, why? Like it's like, why the fuck would they come visit a bunch of
have they
idiots?
seen house prices?
It's like
have they seen TikTok? Like, come on.
I'm sure we're like reality TV for them. They're probably like, let's watch the next episode of
we're the Kardashians of the universe.
Exactly, because they're just like. Let's see what fucking train wreck these.
We're the Jersey Shore of the universe.
Yeah. Who was it? There was this I think Neil Tyson deGrasse, is that his name?
Yeah.
I was watching some of his videos, and he explained it to where why would aliens come visit us or be evenly remotely interested in our technology? And think about like an ant, like us with an ant.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing. Why would we invest so much time into their intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, other than burning them with a magnifying glass.
Right, exactly. Hopefully they don't do that.
Yeah.
They have some compassion.
Yeah, a lot more than we do, because.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. There's also a theory to where like there's nobody in the universe. I heard that one too.
See, now that's terrifying to me.
Like, that would be scary.
To think, how big the universe is, and to be like you're all alone, kind of thing. I mean, that's more terrifying to me than, thinking that there's other intelligent beings, or I mean, even like life on other planets. It could be just bacteria or like fungus or some other organism that we don't even comprehend. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because we think about ourselves and what an alien might look like, right? Like 2 feet, 2 legs, 2 eyes,
Oh,
maybe
like
a
2
nose.
That's like 2 feet tall. I was like, dang, I'm an alien.
Did you
I'm
see? Did
dating an alien, ladies and gentlemen.
you see the?
That's why she doesn't have a camera, because she's an alien.
Because I'm really an alien.
No, did you see the mummies that they put out in Mexico
I was gonna
or
ask you
whatever?
too.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching that dude, whatever Maufin, whatever that guy's name is. My dad used to be all into that. Supposedly those mummies are something he brought up a few years ago, and it was like proven to be a hoax or something.
Really?
That they had done like X-rays, and they found that there were like child bones, or they were like, you know, they were compiled of
Right.
you know, different other things. Because yeah, like when you, like going back to what you said, it's
The
like
Franken alien, ladies and gentlemen.
well, it's sort of like back in the day they used to make mermaids. Like they used to say, "Oh, we found mermaids." And
Oh,
they
yeah.
would
Oh,
take
yeah.
half a monkey and a fish and sew it together and be like, it was a mermaid. So you know, it's one of those things where it's like,
There's really mermaids, though.
yeah, what?
That's my.
No, well, I mean,
my conspiracy.
well, here,
That's the only
wait,
conspiracy I've
well, this is
ever-
what I'll say is how much of the ocean has been, you know,
Exactly.
explored. So it's like, yeah, there's a possibility of it.
And especially if you believe in evolution.
You don't wait. Hold on. You don't believe in ghosts, but you believe in Little Mermaid.
Not Little Mermaid. I don't think she looks like that. That'd be cool. No, I don't believe in like, oh. But I think, I mean, evolution wise, I think that there is a species
person.
or at some point, I'm not saying now in time, but I mean, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
there's
of course.
something that was close to
Sure.
to a human.
Right.
Or had human characteristics. I'm not saying they came out of the fucking land and had feet or anything like that, but something in the realm of close to like a human DNA.
I
Yeah,
heard
why
that. What's the scientist that's holding that little ET? What's his name? You just.
I think it's like Mousen. I think is his name.
So
Mousen.
I heard that it's some article. I heard that he's not allowing other scientists to.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that like
To research it as well?
Supposedly he said that they did some research or some experiments at UNAM, the university in Mexico City, and then I read somewhere that professors came out and they're like, we never fucking did any tests.
Oh.
And then there was other scientists saying like, yeah, like if you want this to like, if this is true, this is like the most significant like discovery of like our lifetimes, even, you know, for generations. So like, let us test it. Let us check the DNA. Let's, you know, whatever. And supposedly they're not allowing anybody to
doesn't
do
want
that.
to.
So it's kind of, you know, like I said, like a few years ago, he came out with similar, I don't know if it's the same mummies or similar ones, but you know, supposedly they were found at the Nazca lines in Peru. That's where these mummies supposedly came from. But going back to what you said about like, what would they look like? I mean, that's very humanoid. You know what I mean? So why would they need 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth and 2 feet and 2 hands, 2 arms? Because that's us. You know what I mean? Like something from another planet. Like, you know, why would they need?
But what I can say to that, if I was a crazy person, I would say, well, maybe they can shapeshift, and this is the only possible organism or the only possible way that I can look, so that way human brains can conceive what they're looking at. That's that's a theory too with the gray aliens and the reptilians. Is the reason why they look like that is because they're shapeshifters, and it's become popular in our ideas of what we think an alien looks like.
I mean, it makes sense because what's that thing that thing that I always like to say, like, we fear what we don't understand.
Right.
So if we like really didn't understand it, imagine we'd be.
But why wouldn't they
more
just
even
can't?
apeshit.
Why wouldn't they just look like a regular human?
Well,
then?
isn't that a theory too, that they're like amongst us and we don't know, like,
or maybe they can't. You know, sort of like you ever see Pokemon? Remember Ditto, the one that could shapeshift into other Pokemon. He could change, but his eyes always stayed the same. So you knew that was a Ditto. Maybe they're just not able to. They're able to do everything except certain features.
well, I seen a TikTok video the other day saying that the Queen of England, that she was
she's a reptilian.
a reptilian. Yeah, right. They were saying, and they were showing like her black eyeballs.
There's a
all the time.
lot, yeah. With that, the theory of the reptilians, they are predominantly people of power within the world because they house us as slaves, and the reason why they
Shit, let me be a reptile.
yeah, our the reason why they keep the world in calamity, wars, famine, all this stuff, social media, TikTok, is because they feed off of our fear, and that's the only way that they can live is through all this terrible calamity that's happening in the world.
So it's like Monsters Inc.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because their city thrives off of screams, right? Fear.
Off the fear or whatever. So
Right.
I've never heard that.
That's a wild one.
That's a wild theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be up all night, dude.
He's like,
Dude, I've been. That's the kind of stuff that I watch, bro.
Yeah.
I watch that. I'm just like, okay. Some of me, I'm just like, I don't know. But then
I wake up at like 2
think
o'clock
about
in
it.
the morning, and it's like the alien was outside of its body, long nails, and I'm like, what the fuck are you listening to? Go to sleep.
that or Triple H just pedigreed the Rock.
The one recently was like,
Yeah.
Off the top rope.
Yeah. Oh my God, he broke him in half.
No, the one recently that kind of freaked me out because I was asleep, and then you fucking fell asleep and you left the phone on, and it was talking about Annabelle the doll.
Oh,
And I
that
was
one's my
like,
favorite.
Dude, are you serious? I wake up and I hear all these like freaking reptilian.
If I'm ever gonna do another podcast, it's probably gonna be about horror and just horror in general, cryptids and all that good stuff. Because that's my other interest.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would call it, like weird podcast. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll come up with something good.
Yeah. You're good at naming stuff, dude. Californiography. That's wild. Like I wouldn't even think of that.
Yeah, no. So the way that came about was, obviously California, and then graphy means to basically like study or like write down or whatever. So it was, and Californiography was already taken like with an A, so I went with an O, because also throwback to back in the day the people lived in California.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's Californiography.
Oh,
yeah. So then afterwards I was like, oh, the O works out because the people that lived in California called themselves Californios, so it kind of works, Californiography.
Dude, we were just looking at the map of what California used to be, part of Mexico, and it blows my mind each and every single time that I look how huge Mexico was a country before the 18 whatevers.
They lost like half of their territory, after the Mexican American War. It wasn't really a war. It was like an invasion. Basically it's like
it was like deceit. Right?
No, yeah, I mean,
there's a few of them, a few treaties that got broken, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is with Mexico was, they were a new country, had just barely, gained their independence like 20 years before or whatever.
From what, the French?
From the Spanish. And then after that, they had a war with the French called the Pastry War, it was basically like this French baker complained to this government. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. He basically there was an incident where he said that like some Mexican army officers came to his bakery and either didn't pay their tab or there was also like looting some merchants on these French merchants, and they complained to the government, and then I guess Mexico owed money to the French. And because of this, they came and basically tried to invade Mexico to force them to pay back the money that they owed, and they call that the Pastry War. Yeah. So that was like a short thing, and then the Mexican American War was in the 1840s, and that was basically just manifest destiny, dude. The U.S. wanted to expand the territory. President Polk ran on a platform of like, we're gonna fucking take over Mexico, basically. The Texans took over Texas. And there was the whole discussion about because the whole reason that the war started was they took Texas, and then they were trying to come up with where the border was, and it was the Rio Grande or this other river, and the Mexicans wanted the other river because it was further north, and the Americans wanted the Rio Grande. And then they sent a group of soldiers down into Mexican territory and the Mexicans took that as an invasion, and they fired on them. And so then the U.S. came back and said, "Oh, you guys fired on our soldiers. We were on our side of the land," kind of thing. And so that's what started the whole skirmish. It was just an excuse to go down there and take the territory that they wanted, because they basically wanted to go from sea to shining sea. So that's why they took all of California, Arizona, New Mexico, parts of Wyoming, Idaho, Oregon, Washington. All of that was all part of that. It's funny because you ever look at a map and you see Arizona, and Arizona just goes straight. That little sliver of land in Arizona, they paid more for that than they paid Mexico for half of the territory that they got during the Mexican-American
Really?
War.
Why? Why is that?
Because there was they wanted to run a train down there, and that property, that part of the land belonged to Mexico, and they came to an agreement. Mexico was like, "Oh, we'll sell you that," but basically they paid more for that little sliver of Arizona than they paid for the entire half of Mexico that they took after the Mexican-American War.
Yeah, that's just. Oh man.
Yeah, and then after Mexico lost the territory, they discovered gold in California. So that's what set off the whole.
Do you think they knew that there was gold there before?
I mean, it's possible. I know that the Mexicans, there was a lot of people that were already up here, kind of looking for that kind of stuff. I know that they found like mineral deposits here and there, because actually the first discovery of gold in California wasn't up in Sutter's Creek. That's what everybody, when you go to school, Sutter's Creek, 1849, Northern California. The first discovery of gold was actually here in LA. Was in up near the Vasquez Rocks, like sort of up like around the Lancaster kind of area. Thousand Oaks? But yeah, there's a place there that they call it the Oak of the Golden Dream. And it's basically the legend is that this Mexican guy fell asleep under a tree, and then he had a dream of gold, and he woke up and he started. His wife had asked him to get some onions. He started digging for onions, and he picked out the onion, and there was gold flecks in the roots of the onion, and so that's how he discovered the gold. Mind you, this guy that was supposedly just some Mexican was a fucking mineralogist. Like, this dude studied minerals. You know what I mean? So, but it's like the legend. Oh, he accidentally discovered it. No, this motherfucker studied in Mexico, was a mineralogist. He was up here looking for gold. They found it, but the discovery of gold didn't set off the land rush that like the discovery in 1849 did, because that's after they had already taken the territory, that's when it was a lot easier for everybody to come out west and try to strike it rich over here.
How early was this guy that found it?
I think if I remember correctly, it was like 10 years.
10 years before
the discovery in. Don't quote me on that because I'm bad with dates, but I know it was a significant amount of time. I think it was probably like about 10 years. Yeah.
Dang.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they knew, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They knew about all the
just even
resources.
If they didn't even know about the gold, it's just like you said, the resources, the land. I mean, because land, they wanted to expand, and there was a growing population, and people wanted to be able to have their own little plots of land or whatever, and came over, and of course broke the Treaty of Guadalupe, because Mexicans that were here were supposed to be able to keep their land, and that didn't happen. So
yeah, well, I mean, I wish they had social media back then, because if with the Manifest Destiny, all that that declaration on taking over the land. Right. I mean, first it happened with the Native Americans first, and then Mexicans too.
Yeah, I mean, because the Mexicans, the Spanish took it from the Native Americans, and then the Mexicans took it, sort of. Yeah, so it goes back to everybody always taking everybody else's land, just claiming it from their own in the name of God or whatever,
Did you think about the question that I asked when we were talking about the map? If Mexico took over its territory?
Oh yeah, I do.
How wild would that be?
I mean, it'd be hard with the military that they have, against the American military. But I mean,
what was your question, Amber? You had a question too that was like way better than mine.
Oh no, it was who were we talking to?
We were talking to
Random Bunch.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I said if they thought that if like the entire Mexican cartel, like everyone,
oh yeah,
and if they came to fight the U.S. would they win?
Absolutely not. Because I mean, like the American military has nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Tactical nuclear weapons. You have bunker bombs. You have the stuff where you're like, there's some dude sitting in an air conditioned trailer in Las Vegas dropping bombs on people in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? It's just it's just logistically, yeah. Like if it was a thing where it was just maybe like. Because even the Mexican military has issues, trying to fight against them. And obviously they have a lot more resources in the Mexican military, but nobody spends money on their military like the U.S. does. So,
yeah, that's true. They probably have some crazy technology that we don't even know. Like we have these phones in our pockets that are public, that we can do a lot of different things. I mean, the internet. But imagine all the information that we're being kept away from, and the technology
and
too.
And all the information that you're giving freely, because nobody reads the terms of service for any of this stuff. So it's like they're probably listening to us right now.
Probably.
I just accept everything.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's like four pages of scrolling, and you're just like, dude, come on, just give me.
Even when you're like, I accept cookies, and you're like, what the fuck are cookies?
Yeah, I like cookies. Cookies are great.
Yeah, cookies are good.
Hey, Javier, but I heard that you had some spooky. Keeping in line with the spooky theme, some history for us, exclusive, right?
Yeah,
with
exclusive.
MindBuzz.
Yeah. So when you hit me up, I was like, I have a couple of videos of places that are rumored to be haunted, but also went around and looked up some other stuff. So it depends on what you guys want to hear about, man. I got some. I found some monsters here in the Inland Empire, like legends of like monsters and ghost stories. I know that you you lived briefly in Pomona, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the cemetery. So are you talking about Spadra Cemetery in Pomona?
The old one. I don't know.
Yeah, Spadra.
Okay.
All right. So we'll
the oldest one in Pomona.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about Spadra. So basically, I'll tell you the history, and then we'll get. Do you want to talk about the haunted stuff first, or you want to talk about the history first?
Whatever. No, let's do history and then into the haunt.
All right. So in Pomona, there's a cemetery called Spadra. It's Spadra. Spadra was a town that was originally founded in 1866 by a bunch of families from the South. They were trying to escape poverty. The town thrived, and by 1870, there was like 3 stores, a school, a post office, blacksmith shops. It was a very important stop on the stagecoach route from Yuma, Arizona, coming to LA. There was also a lot of like mysterious deaths and suicides and murders that happened there. There was a tavern in town where they would say that if you got in a gunfight because of a card game, and you died, they would just drag you across the street and bury you in the cemetery. So it was that kind of like no questions asked. It was one of those like old Wild West kind of towns. But in 1853, this guy named Louis Phillips, who was a wealthy landowner and rancher, he signed a contract with the Southern Pacific Railroad. And he convinced them to build a rail line from LA to Spadra because it was going to be like a boom town. And he built a mansion in 1875 there in Spadra. And the rail line got built, but unfortunately they kept extending it. So it went all the way to Colton. So there was no reason to get off in Spadra, because it was like, oh, Spadra was the end of the line. Okay, cool. You get off there, you get the people come in. But if somebody's going out further, they would go out to Colton. They're like, well, there's no reason to stay in Spadra. So eventually the town started shrinking. People started moving away because, there was all this stuff going on in the surrounding communities, the other cities that were growing, where eventually Spadra got absorbed by Pomona in 1964. And all the original town buildings are gone except for that mansion. So the Phillip Mansion's still there. And Spadra Cemetery is still there with the 200 people that are buried there.
Is that why it's called Phillips Ranch?
Yeah, that's why it's called Phillips Ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the stories go, unfortunately, the cemetery is abandoned. It was abandoned. It wasn't very well taken care of. Now, the Historical Society in Pomona takes care of the cemetery.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
wait,
that's the mansion.
That's the mansion.
Yeah, that's the Phillips Mansion.
Hey, isn't this where they do that haunted house recently? No? Did you guys hear about that?
Off the 71? Is it that one?
It looks exactly like this.
Is it then?
Did you know that, Javier?
I think they do stuff for Halloween. I don't know if they do stuff inside the house, because I know that they have like issues with like they're still working on restoring it. I know they do open it occasionally for like tours, but I don't know that if they do a haunted house, they probably do it on the property because I think they have the land for it. But as far as like inside the house, I know they open that very limited because of concerns, safety concerns.
I need to go see this.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Right.
that thing looks haunted.
So so the cemetery was abandoned. Like teenagers will be teenagers. People started going in there stealing grave markers, stones, all that kind of stuff. So the Historical Society now takes care of it. They do like tours for Halloween where you can go there at night with them with like a little flashlight tour, and they talk to you about the history of.
I'm signing up.
Yeah,
Sign us up right now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We
Sign
should
all
do
three.
it.
Yeah.
All four of us.
Well, if you go to if you look up Spadra Cemetery, if you click on it, it'll take you to the Historical Society, and they have a place where you can put your email, and they'll send you emails when they're starting to open up tours for that. But some of the stories that I looked up of hauntings, because again, it's a place where people are buried. They're not at rest. People have been desecrating the graves and doing that kind of stuff. So there's stories of like people being grabbed by unseen hands, people seeing orbs, hearing voices, and just having like an overall like sense of anxiety and panic with like being there in the cemetery. Yeah, that's a cool little, it's like the only remains of the town are that mansion and the cemetery, and the 200 people still buried there.
Dang.
And actually Phillips is buried there. The guy Phillips that built the mansion, he's buried there.
Really?
Yeah.
See, look, it says, so they call it delusion.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's the I know where it's at. It's right there off the 71, off of like a Hospitality Lane or something like that.
So it says in the past
Pomona.
installments have found attendees stealing their way through a Victorian home
so
and
they
embarking.
do open it. That's cool.
Yeah, on a Blade Runner-esque bounty hunt. And now the celebrated immersive horror theater event will once again return for an event at a nearly 150-year-old mansion. So it says, Delusion is an interactive seasonal event that combines the elements of immersive theater with a more story-based approach to walk through haunted house. Will again take over the Phillips Mansion, an 1875 estate in Pomona.
Let's go.
I don't want anything jumping out at me, though.
Let's go. I think I know a guy that sells popcorn there
Yeah, let's do it.
and ice cream.
Let's do it.
Mark, hook us up.
Oh, Mark is there?
Old time ice cream. Yeah, he's everywhere. But yeah, dude, we should definitely check that out.
That's a place that I've been trying to get into for a long time because, like I said, it's just any like old historic building, any whatever. I'm with it.
You're all on the tour and you're all looking at the
that's the thing.
The structure. Yeah. You're like, can I come in the day?
No. Every time Ellie and I go somewhere like historic, it's like that. Like Ellie loves Victorian homes. She loves architecture. She loves watching. She loves seeing like if there's like decor that's from the time. She's like, that's what she's about. And I'm like, oh my god, did you know that like the dude drank from this cup? She's like, who the fuck cares? Like, look at this over here. Like look at the wallpaper. Look at whatever. And I'm just more like, oh my god, this is the pen, or this is whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, right here, tours.
Yeah, so
there it is.
So if you and where it says at the tours, Spadra Cemetery, there it is. 60-minute tours. You can sign up for it.
It's a daytime.
Daytime tours. They do for October. They do nighttime tours.
Let's do it, guys. Come on, it'll be fun.
I'm down.
Yeah,
all right.
that's not bad.
Let's do
Spadra.
it.
So Spadra was its own.
It was its own town.
Town within Pomona.
So it was there before Pomona.
I was there before Pomona.
And then after Pomona started, they absorbed it. They absorbed the town of Spadra into Pomona.
Wow. Okay. That's.
Oh, so wait, look, Javier, you can go into Phillips Mansion.
$20. Yeah, that was the thing is that they put that on there, but they don't have like the schedule Like it says like, oh, we'll do it on this time, but they don't have like the dates.
Let's call and say that you're a historian and you're here to do a video.
I'm like, open this fucking place up.
I'm Foo Howser, bitch.
We're something where your wife's your camera person. We'll carry around. I'll carry around like water bottles for you.
Let's do it.
I'll carry the boom mic with the headphones. What's up?
Let's do it.
Well, do you have a restroom in here? We're all using the restroom.
I take the microphone and with the restroom with me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that was here.
Yeah. And then you grew up in Whittier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So see, I pay attention to the podcast, baby. See, that's why I knew you lived in Pomona for a bit.
That's what's up.
So like in Whittier, you heard about Dead Man's Park?
Dead Man's Park.
Or Founders Memorial Park?
No. Where is that?
So
I know Gun Park.
So it's actually it's like north of like Uptown. It's like kind of like northwest.
What is it called?
It's called Founders Memorial Park.
Maybe if you see it.
Maybe if I see it. I was
Is
avid.
it the one that's by the?
I was an avid park goer.
Yeah, it's one that's like it's two parks. It's like it has a street down the middle of it. It's like Citrus Avenue.
Then you have to go down.
No. It's flat. It should be. I think it's that top one right there.
Citrus Avenue.
Yeah. So now it's a park, but it used to be two cemeteries.
Whoa.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Citrus Avenue used to be called Cemetery Avenue because it was a street that separated the two cemeteries. So, the story of this place is that there was a diphtheria outbreak that happened in Whittier, and like a lot of people died in the late 1800s. And there was this guy named Willett Dorland who had property, and he was like, "Hey, I'll build a cemetery on my property." So he built two cemeteries. One of them was Mount Olive, and the other one was Broadway, built right across the street from each other. The street that went right between them was called Cemetery Avenue. So they had a lot of people buried there. When he passed away, his daughter took over as caretaker because she was a widow, so she took care of it until she passed away in 1940. And then after she passed away, the cemetery fell into disrepair. Like there was like overgrown weeds and people were growing in there and knocking down, the gravestones and everything. The city put up a fence because they wanted to keep people out of there, but people still going to go and mess things up. And so finally the city declared the cemetery a nuisance in 1959. They were like, nobody else is going to get buried here. And we got to find something else to do with this because this thing's just not like. That's actually my video right there.
Is this your video?
Yeah, that's my video. Yeah.
They moved the headstones but left the bodies.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
Well, we got the man right here in the flesh. What are you talking about?
Let's watch it.
So what they did was after they declared it a nuisance, which sucks because there was actually people that were buried there like probably like about 5 or 6 years before they closed the cemetery. There was still people being buried there. And so after the city declared it a nuisance, they spent 10 years trying to find family members and be like, hey, basically like, we're gonna destroy the cemetery. You need to, if you want your family like somewhere else, you can move them. Well, the only records that I was able to find, it was like less than 20 people that got moved. So they actually moved people to like the guy that opened up Rose Hills. He offered like discounted like prices for people to bury their family members in Rose Hills. But you have to remember, people dying in the late 1800s, now 1960. It's 80 years later trying to find somebody's family member. So they tried to move. They tried to move the bodies. They only moved about 20 of them. So there's actually 2,400 people that are still buried underneath the park.
Wait, how many?
Around 2,400 people.
Whoa,
That's a lot of corpses.
The Whittier Museum has a list of all the people buried there, and so what they did was they came in, they took off all the headstones. For a while, they had them over at Pio Pico State Park, which is like over by the 605 freeway. Mm-hmm. They had them there for storage. And then they moved them to the Whittier Museum. And then some guy I think it was like 2017 or something like that. He was like, hey, I'll take them off your hands. And the museum was like, take them. We don't have anything, just taking up space. And this dude put them in his yard. Like, basically like he has his property out in Newhall, like out in the desert. And he just started putting the stones in his property, just like a fake graveyard in his property. Supposedly it was because he was trying to prevent them from building the high-speed train through his property. But yeah, so they turned it into they call it a quiet park. So it's a park, but it doesn't have like restrooms. There's no water fountains. There's no like barbecue pits.
I would hope
like
there'd
that.
be no water running through freaking corpse.
Exactly. But in the middle of both parks, there's like a marker that tells you everybody that's buried there. So people go there. Sometimes you'll see people walking their dog or people playing soccer, but there's like literally like 2,400 people still buried.
Damn.
Underneath, the park. And so it's a place where, it's a favorite place for people for paranormal, like, research, people that do like ghost hunting and stuff. And I've seen videos online where people, they claim to have like voices, like EVPs, that they are like voice phenomenon or, again, orbs. And then people always talk about this ghostly mist that supposedly comes up out of the ground just in the cemetery. People that live around there are always like, yeah, like we don't go out at night because there's a ghostly mist over there and we don't fuck with it. So, and the house of the guy is still next to the cemetery. The guy Willett Dorland, his house is still next to the cemetery, and the people that live there. I mean, I don't think they have a connection to them anymore, but it's like literally their house, their backyard is right up against the cemetery or the park now.
I always think about that, about the houses that are like a brick, like right there, I think it's gate 19 in Rose Hills. There's like a 5-foot brick wall, and then it's somebody's backyard.
Yeah. Or like in Downey, have you ever been to the cemetery in Downey over there off of, it's like near the 105 freeway?
I have not.
Oh yeah, the little one right there.
Yeah, same thing.
We've passed it. If you see it, you'll know what.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend who's, I think her aunt or her grandmother her backyard was at the cemetery.
Really?
She had a pool, and when we would climb up the ladder to go down the slide, you could just see the cemetery right there.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like, it's small now, but obviously there was probably a bunch of land before, right, around it. And now it's like by the freeway, and then there's houses across, there's houses behind, there's like a business in the corner.
Yeah.
I have an uncle that lives across the street from cemetery.
Ooh.
I know. I think I would. I wouldn't be scared.
I mean, your neighbors are quiet.
Yeah.
Ah.
I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm dumb.
She's like, perfect for a podcast studio.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. What like I said, I got some ones that I did just for you guys. So I was researching.
Let's do it.
So another place out here in San Bernardino County.
I'm here to get scared.
Yeah,
That's why I showed up for this podcast.
So have you guys ever
Double
heard?
calzones on.
I'm not wearing any.
Pobrecita Ellie.
Have you ever heard of Agua Mansa?
Agua Mansa.
Why have I heard of that? What is it?
It's Agua Mansa is a cemetery over
Mansa.
in Colton. Talking about Colton earlier. So Agua Mansa, the cemetery is the only thing that remains of the communities of Agua Mansa and La Placita. So Agua Mansa and La Placita were the first non-native settlements in the San Bernardino Valley and had the first church and the first school in the San Bernardino Valley. It was the largest settlement between New Mexico and LA during the 1840s. Agua Mansa was established in 1842. La Placita was established in 1843, right across the Santa Ana River from each other. Agua Mansa is Spanish for gentle water, which is ironic because they were destroyed by a great flood in 1862.
Shoot.
That was like a big flood that happened in 1862. And it destroyed most of the town. So Agua Mansa and La Placita were almost completely destroyed. The only thing that was left intact was the cemetery, the chapel, and one store. They rebuilt the town, but they never regained the importance that they had with the railroad coming through town and the other industries that came about that drew people away from the community. So eventually, like, any remnants of the town of Agua Mansa or La Placita were completely destroyed, leaving only the cemetery intact. So now it's Colton, and it's a weird place because it's like literally just surrounded by industry. It's just like warehouses and stuff around there, and it's just this. There's like a little road that goes up to the cemetery, and it's there. And they have a museum there. You can go visit. I've tried. but it's been closed the times that I've gone. But they've actually had like some really like real life like crazy stuff that's happened there. Like back in the 80s, they found 2 people murdered in the back of a pickup truck at the gates of the cemetery.
Oh shit.
And then in 2004, the guy that was the caretaker of the cemetery, he killed himself in his caretaker house on the cemetery.
Well, look at what it's doing on its own.
Oh.
I'm not touching it.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was not touching it. Dang, I wish I would have had it on this view.
Yeah, I saw it.
I seen that. I was like, why are you scrolling like that?
Damn, I go, Amber's just like power scrolling.
I can't scroll that fast. Oh,
You weren't
shit.
doing that.
I swear on my mother, I did not touch it. There's no way. Look, I can't. Wow. Okay, I can scroll that fast, but I swear I was not scrolling, and the mouse was right in the middle.
So let's see. What's the last thing that, like, what did go down? Like, scroll all the way down. Like, what was the last thing on
I
there?
don't want to see what if it's.
No, what was the last thing on there?
You're dying on this day.
No.
Just kidding.
No. What is it?
Debajo del agua mansa.
What's the picture of that family? What is that? Debajo de agua mansa? What is that?
Abajo de agua mansa.
What is that?
The
I don't know, it's a video.
below gentle water is the worst current.
Oh, okay, that's not fun. What about that one? What about that one? Now I'm looking for stuff.
Yeah, looking
I'm
for-
fishing.
But yeah, so there's stories that people tell about like there's a story like people say that they saw a guy walking their dog, like the guy was walking his dog past the cemetery, and when they got closer, the guy didn't have a head, so it's like this headless guy walking, you know, his dog. There's like stories of other apparitions, and funny enough, like La Llorona is like supposedly can be heard there because it's right by the Santa Ana River. And so, and I've heard this from more than one place where they claim that the legend of La Llorona comes out of here, like in Riverside and like the
Really?
Inland Empire kind of thing. Because and one of the like places is Agua Mansa, that you know that people say that they hear La Llorona, you know, weeping along the riverbanks because the river's still there. So, you know, I don't know if you're brave enough, man, to go out there at 1 or 2 in the morning.
Let's go,
I'd be
Amber.
down. Well, Ghost from Agua Mansa was scrolling on my mouse. Let me tell you that much.
I don't want to scare you, but a lot of weird things have been happening to me in that chair over the
I'm
past couple
scared now.
nights. You know, like when the late nights where
Stop, I
I'm
wanna
done.
play it. I'm
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
scared.
like the late nights that I'm usually there clipping, editing.
When you have a monster at 8:00 at night, a real monster to drink.
No, but it's really late. It happens around like 1, 2 o'clock.
And what happens?
I hear okay, there was this one time where I felt like somebody was behind me or walked like there was a shadow that went by. And then hold on, there was a shadow that went by me, and then I like turned. I was here because this is a computer, and then I turned and looked at the drape, the black one that's separating the our eating quarters, and it was moving.
No. What?
Yeah. Honestly,
Javier, you guys got an extra room?
It freaked me.
Vente.
It freaked me out so much that I just thought, I was like, it happened once, and then it happened again like 5 minutes later, and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't continue to work because it just freaked me out so
no,
much.
Yeah, no, that's real, man. Those feelings are real.
We don't what do they say to say? I don't accept any of this. How do they say
Usually-
to say it?
You just ahorita no joven, no gracias. You know, no thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, usually when once one thing happens to me, I say stop.
Yeah,
Like stop.
yeah.
And I did that. I said stop, and it kept on going. And then I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna
Heck no, I'm going home.
go. I'm gonna go back. So
And then I was tell you, like, so when I was doing the research, I found other stuff, you know, like cryptids and all. That's pretty interesting. So have you guys ever heard of Elsie, the lake monster in Lake Elsinore?
what?
What?
You never heard of that?
Elsie?
Elsie, Elsie.
Oh.
Lake Elsinore.
Lake Elsinore.
Dang.
Yeah. So supposedly the story goes is, you know, like Lake Elsinore is like this freshwater lake, right?
Oh my God. You fucker.
Damn it! I should have put the thing on you.
You're a jerk, dude.
Damn it!
Got him.
All right, I'm
Got
gonna get
him.
you.
Man,
Oh,
I
it is
didn't-
war
No,
now.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play.
It is war
I don't
now.
want to play. I don't want to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has become a
Help
spooky
me.
war for the month. All right, I got you.
No,
Don't worry
no,
about
no,
it.
Don't scare me, please.
Te van a agarrar las patas en la noche. Watch.
Heck, no, nobody wants to touch my patas.
They're mine, so I got them. I'll fight. I don't care. I will fight a ghost for those things. Pry him out of my jaw, ghost.
Man, I should have the freaking camera
Yeah.
on your face.
I thought you would have.
I was
All
like,
right, let's cut. Do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm like, rewind. Dang it.
Next time.
No, I don't want to scare you because you're going to scare me.
I won't get you.
All right.
You're
sorry,
hard
Javier.
to, honestly, you're hard to scare. You give me actually, you know what? I'm actually pretty good. I'm pretty good at being stealthy. So I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, you are, because sometimes I'm in the kitchen. I was like, when did you get there?
Yeah.
Or I swear I saw him go out the door, and then he's like still in the hallway of
pop
the
right there.
restroom.
Or maybe you did.
No.
The world may never know.
Sorry, Javier.
No, it's all good.
I
No,
had to.
so yeah, like Lake Elsinore. Supposedly there's a sea serpent or sea monster.
What is it called?
It's called Elsie, and then just space and just put like Lake Elsinore and it should pop up.
Nothing's coming up. That's weird. Elsinore.
Wait.
Oh, right there. Weird California.
This one.
Yeah, so somebody put a fiberglass like Elsie out in the
Oh,
lake.
they did?
Yeah, they put that out there. I don't know that it's still there. I think that's from a few years ago, but they were like, oh, it's like, you know, Elsie is the unofficial mascot of Lake Elsinore because there's so many stories of. I mean, I think they even have it like Elsie like on like in like children's books, like coloring books and that kind of stuff.
Really?
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, but basically the way the story goes, it's, you know, it's a freshwater lake. The Spanish when they came by, when they were there, they called it Laguna Grande until the name changed to Elsinore. It was named after some town that was found in nearby called Elsinore. And supposedly the story goes that like the Native Americans there had stories of like supposedly seeing something in this lake. But the weird thing about this place is it's always had issues with like the levels of the water. Like it's like it's high sometimes, it's low sometimes, you know, whatever. But the city they invested in a project to maintain like the water level. But the stories that I was able to find out, like actually like newspapers and stuff from like the time, the first time was like there was a sighting in 1884. Was like the earliest sighting supposedly of the serpent, and it was a report in the LA Times in 1934 where this guy named C.B. Greenstreet and his family, like they swore that they saw this 100-foot like lake monster. And in the newspaper clipping, like the lady's like holding her hand up, like swearing like on the Bible, like to like the police officer that she was like, I swear to God that I saw this, you know, 100-foot like sea serpent or whatever. And then every decade since, like there's people say that they see something in there. The weird thing is though, is that in 1954 the lake went completely dry, so there was no water in it, and there was no bones, no serpent that they found there. But then in the 60s, there was people that reported that they saw something in there. So it's one of those things where it's like, what are they seeing? You know, there was some scientists that came and said, oh, you know, there's gases that get built up down at the floor of the lake because, you know, things die, and as they die, there's all these gases, they get trapped, and then when they come up to the surface and like one big sort of explosion, it like causes wakes in the water, and it might look like there's something big in there or whatever. But there's people that swear that they've seen a serpent there, and like I said, it's the unofficial mascot of Lake Elsinore. You know, that they have a sea serpent there, or a lake serpent, I guess.
Really?
Dang.
That is this is the first time I've ever heard something like that. Lake Elsinore.
Yeah.
Hey, the Inland Empire has some
It's got some stuff, man.
cryptid stuff. Okay.
And then the other one was the Riverside Bridge Monster.
What?
Have you ever heard of the Riverside Bridge Monster?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So supposedly the story goes that
Bridge monster.
Bridge Monster. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a bridge on North Main Street that goes over the Santa Ana River, and in 1958, this guy named Charles Wetzel was driving home, and as he was getting close to the bridge, he said he saw something that like leapt out from the banks of the river, pounced on his car, and clawed his windshield. And he described it as having like a round face with no ears, shiny eyes, and a protruding mouth. He said it was scaly, but not like a fish, more like leaves. And he said that when it pounced on his windshield, it made like weird like gurgling noises, and he like was terrified. So he like went home and reported it to the police. And then for like the next few days, when I was looking at newspapers, all you could see was like reports of
What year was this?
This is 1958.
Oh. That's some really good acid back then. Just want to point that out, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the thing is so for like the next like 10 days, the cops kept getting reports from people saying, "Oh, I saw the same thing. I saw the same thing." Because when this guy told his story, it got picked up by all the newspapers around here. So like San Bernardino, Riverside, LA, they all picked it up. So of course, like the manic panic kind of stuff,
right,
kind of thing. And so people saw that they saw it. The funny thing is, though, is a few days later, somebody found a burlap bag in the mud in the river, and it was a Halloween costume, and it was the same thing that supposedly this guy saw. And then somebody that had a friend that was a professor at one of the colleges, he says that his friend was the one that dressed up, and he would go out there and like scare people. But even though it's been sort of like debunked and disproved, there's still people that swear that they still see something,
of course,
there, and that. Whatever Halloween costume they found down there, that wasn't the creature, that there's still something, over there. And
he planted there so that way
throw him off his scent.
Yeah, exactly. So that way they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
Or her or they.
Did you guys see, talking about like using like costumes and stuff to like scare people? Recently I seen, did you see this guy that was, dang, I can't think of the word in English. Asaltando, how do you say it in Spanish?
Or like mugging people.
He was mugging people, but he was using the Chucky doll.
What?
Yes, I did see that.
He was what? How?
I thought because we have a Chucky doll right here, right next to me. Yeah. So he was using the Chucky doll as like, I guess he would put like the knife in like. Honestly, I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, he was putting the knife in the Chucky doll's hand and like robbing people with the Chucky doll. If I remember correctly.
And then it's funny because then you see the video and like pictures of like the dude getting arrested, and then they even have handcuffs on the Chucky doll.
Oh my god!
Did you see that over here?
No, I didn't.
I gotta find it. Watch.
So he used the doll as
That's
safeguard or something like that.
That reminds me of, I think it was in Canada or something. Some cops like caught a bird and they put it in a cell.
Oh, I found
and
it.
when they took a picture of the bird, they blurred out his eyes, like to protect his identity, like this little bird.
They blurred him out. That's funny. Oh, he has an original one too. Right?
The cops are holding it up like he's a perp.
Yeah. That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See if you could zoom in on that, because that looks like the original good guy doll. That thing's like over $600 now. I'm going to get one. Once Amber gives me my monthly allowance, I'm going to get one.
Oh, shoot.
That's fine. Is it going to cover the whole thing?
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
But wait, I didn't. Oh, yeah, it did come out. I think it's going to do the whole.
Yeah. That's fine. Just watch it like that.
I'll put it once it comes out.
Don't all apps do that? Not really. Trust the number one.
I don't want to give any
yeah,
free advertisement.
Yeah, come on.
Okay,
there we go.
Goes.
Oh, there's no sound.
Oh, no.
What happened to it?
Reportan que en el pueblo de...
Says local media says that the doll's master allegedly something.
The doll's master?
Look at the fucking hold.
Yeah, look at him.
He's got handcuffs.
They really handcuffed him.
Yeah.
That's an original good guy doll.
Look at it, and it had a
Is it a real knife?
She's all laughing.
Whoa.
Oh,
Derek, why'd you take your pants off?
Yeah, why'd you take your pants off, Gil?
My balls were hot, he said.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, this just happened recently.
That's hilarious.
I'm impressed that he would use an original good
Yeah.
guy doll.
You're
That's
impressed.
cool. Yeah, I am. Because if I'm gonna pull something like that, at least have something that's authentic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Oh wait, hold on. No, that's not original. That's a remake of the
I know he's all
original.
greñudo. Well, yours is too.
Yeah,
Yours a little beat up.
I've had that thing for like, I want to say like at least close to 7 years.
No
I wanna
wonder he's
say.
all fucking panicked. There's a damn Chucky doll right next to the desk.
No, this happened like a month ago.
Oh.
Maybe even longer than that.
Ah, okay. I thought like recently in these days.
No, it was pretty weird. And I thought about it too last night before going back to the room. I was like, you know what? I haven't been bugged
Yeah.
lately.
Go away.
I don't know.
I'm all.
I'm not inviting anybody in.
Don't invite anything in.
No.
What do they say? I always see it on TikTok. Whenever there's like spooky like videos, people write it. It says like, I'm not inviting this energy, or I something like saying like, no, like I don't want this energy. I don't want to get it. Anything like that.
I wonder what would happen if we played the Ouija board
We're
on
not
the
gonna
show.
play anything.
Record. No.
Heck
Do a
no.
podcast.
Javier's
and
like, fuck you guys.
yeah,
I'm out.
Ouija
I'm
board.
gonna
it.
take my conchas and go.
I think it's time to go. Javier's like, my wife's calling me.
I know. Huh? No, well, I don't have a game in the. Would you let me have a game in the studio?
Yeah, maybe.
They sell it at Toys R Us.
Oh yeah,
I mean, come on.
It's it's one.
Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore, fool.
Oh, they don't? It doesn't?
I mean, it's
No.
I think it's Milton Bradley or whatever one. Whoever makes Monopoly.
They
makes
sell it
Ouija board or
at
whatever,
Circus
yeah.
City, bro.
Yeah, Circus.
At Mervin's.
You know what's funny? Talking about that, I actually found my Blockbuster membership card.
Dang.
Do you have it with you?
No, I don't have it.
I
with
wish you
me.
would have brought it.
I'll send you a picture.
Hey, Javier, do you know that Paramount has a video rental store?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Where is it?
You know where the Albertsons is? No, wait, not Albertsons, Stater Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that
Right there on
shopping
Alondra.
center.
Oh.
It's Alondra and what, Orange?
No. Alondra.
Downey.
Wow, it's because it's kind of like if it's between Downey and what's the next street over?
It's right there by
Lakewood?
the
Yeah, Downey and Lakewood.
yeah. It's by the chicken bowl place
the
that they
teriyaki
used
place?
the teriyaki bowl
that place
that
is
used to
good.
be a Taco Bell.
Yeah, that place is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Golden Bowl?
there's a movie place in there.
Oh.
And yeah, it's not a movie rental, but it's they sell the DVDs there. But it was kind of interesting to walk in
Yeah.
that
But
place
it
and
looks
walk around.
exactly the way that the movie. It's because it was a movie rental place, and I think that he probably se quedó with everything. Like he stayed with all
Yeah.
the movies. So now he just, I guess, sells them. I don't know.
Yeah.
We walked in and he didn't really talk to us.
Yeah,
which is
well,
kinda-
that's weird. That's a weird business model.
Yeah.
It is. I think there's more to it, but
Right.
It's probably a front.
They also they're because there was like weird doors in the back. They have a triple X section.
Oh, the beaded section.
I went to the little beaded section. There was a man there. He was reading the whole thing. Like
synopsis.
he was, dude. It was like he went back there and just started reading.
Like Busty Nurses 34.
Yeah, volume 2. I've never seen this one.
He's like, wait, do I need to watch volume 1 to know what's happening in volume 2?
Basically, dude, he was there for a long
On
time.
a hot summer night, 2 nurses.
He was there for a long time. I mean, I was in there for a long time, so I can
I was gonna
imagine he
say,
was
I'm
there
like-
reading. I was just watching him. I wish I would have got some footage of him.
Let him be in his privacy.
Yeah.
We're all videotaping and putting it on blast. What if,
Well,
what if somebody doesn't know?
We're buying, yeah, I mean, you buy stuff there, and I was going to even go the step forward and ask him, hey, bro, what if, like, we go halves on this video, and then, like, we can have alternating weekends?
Yeah. He's like, you can have it on, the first weekend. I get on the second, third.
Right, and then alternate
there's-
holidays.
Exactly. No, yeah, that'll work. Let me know. We'll go halves on one.
They're nasty.
We'll
Probably
take
all
it to-
old and crusty. Can't even open it. You're like, why the fuck does this DVD not open?
It's like I don't know. I got nothing right now. I was gonna say like Krispy Kreme donut. How you have all the glaze. I won't get into the glaze. We're here to talk about Californiography. Spooky stuff.
So then the other place that I had was the supposed insane asylum over in Downey, right?
Oh yeah. I've been in there. Did I ever tell you?
No. You snuck in there?
I did.
Oh, yeah, you're braver than me, dude.
I'll tell you about it after you talk about it.
So basically the history of it was actually started as a poor farm. It was they call it the LA County Poor Farm back in 1887. And they built it to house and support the elderly and people that were disabled. And it was opened in 1888, and it grew. It grew over the next few decades. It was a very successful farm. Eventually, they had people with other ailments that would come there, like alcoholism, mental illness, and asthma. There was a lot of praise for the facility from other people would come from other states to come see how they were running the place, because they were like, oh, this is such a wonderful idea. But there was issues there. There was a lot of inmate abuse, because that's what they called the people that stay there. They call them inmates. There was a lot of inmate abuse, and there was a lot of suicides that occurred because of the treatment there. So in 1915, another doctor came in to turn the things around there. And he first started by stopping the whole calling them inmates, their patients kind of thing. The Great Depression came around, and the population there just blew up because there was so many people that needed, help. And then in 1932, they started trying to shift the focus of the place from a poor farm more into like a rehab center. And then after World War II, it became a polio ward, and it was one of the most like I think we briefly talked about the last time we were here about the iron lungs and stuff like that. It was like a place for a lot of polio patients that went there. It was like a state of the art like polio ward. But by 1951, it was like a premier hospital. But for whatever reason, I've never been able to figure out why, they started building more on the north side of campus, so like on the north side of Imperial Highway, and everything that was on the south side of the campus was basically left to like rot in place. I've never figured out why, but they basically, like in the 80s, they abandoned the buildings, and it was just started falling apart. Started getting overgrown. People sneaking in there. Because,
is that your video right there?
Yeah, that's my video right there.
Gotcha.
Let's watch it now. So the whole thing is that like people would just always call it like the insane asylum. It wasn't an insane asylum. It was a hospital. They did have people that had mental issues there. They did have like what they called psychopathic wards, but it wasn't just strictly, an insane asylum. It was actually a hospital and, all that kind of stuff. But, obviously the stories get told and it gets turned into this whole thing. They did find in 2006, they were using this facility for like training for like Marines and like Army and whatever. And in 2006, some Marines actually found a freezer full of mummified body parts in there.
Whoa!
So whenever they closed down the hospital in the 80s, somebody forgot to empty out the freezer, and the Marines found it and they had to call the sheriffs, and they went there, and then that's when they ended up discovering that these were, body parts, probably from amputations or things that happened there that for whatever reason they threw them in this freezer and just left them there and forgot them, so they were mummified. But some of the legends and stories that are told about this place, like I've read people saying that supposedly it was a patient that slashed the throat of one of the priests there in one of the chapels. Obviously that there was people that were abused and people that killed themselves there. So if you believe that things are haunted when things like that happen, I mean, there's a lot of documented cases of suicide and abuse. And then there's also stories about like cults and rituals of things taking place there. Like there's when I put the video out, there's a lot of people that started commenting and saying, "Oh yeah, like I snuck in, or I did this, or I did whatever." And one of the comments that I got on there, I can't remember if it was like TikTok or YouTube, were basically saying like, "Yeah, like we snuck in there, and then we like went up to the roof, and then we saw like these people in a circle, with like hoods on and doing this whole kind of crazy stuff." So I'm like, yeah, like. I'm good, I don't need to sneak in there. But yeah, for a long time, it was like when I was growing up in HP, like you always heard about it. People, let's go to the insane asylum, and you just go drive through there, and back then you could still drive through the streets of the facility. Mm-hmm. They fenced it off like a few years ago, and now they actually tore it down. Like somebody told me, I haven't passed by there, but they said they've torn pretty much everything down there. And like there's only like 3 buildings that are left. But, you know, people are still trying to get in there, you know, because, you know, people want to see scary shit. I'd be more scared of, like, you know, asbestos.
Yeah. or a bum coming out at me or something.
Or some fleas or whatever. Yeah.
That's what my mom always says. She would always say, don't fear, like, ghosts. She's like, fear people that are living. She's like, people that can really hurt you.
Mm.
I was like, well. Yeah, I've always wondered, because, I mean, I grew up in that area. Mm-hmm. And I always wondered why there was things left like that. So I'll tell you real quick the story of when I went in. I was still in high school. So I must have been maybe 16, 17. And my sister had gone 2 weeks prior to me going. I didn't know that she had gone, anything like that. So apparently when her and her friends went, drove in, and right away they got stopped by the cops. So the cops stopped them, apprehended them. They zip tied them, like their hands to their back.
Yeah.
And then they sat them on like the curb, and they were like, "All right, you know, we're gonna fine you guys. You're not supposed to be in here. It's trespassing." And as like when he was gonna start, you know, fining everyone, they got a call. He got a call. Something had happened, and they needed all these, you know.
Backup.
And he was like, you guys are so lucky. So he like cut all of their zip ties, you know, off, and then they were like on their merry way, but they never got to go in.
Well, I'm glad he cut the zip ties off.
I was like, that would have been hard to drive home. And then 2 weeks after I went, so I was with my friends, and we were supposed to go to a party, and then we went to the party and it sucked. And then we were like, what do we do? And then someone's like, let's go to the asylum. And I'm like, all right. So we went in my friend's little car. I don't even know what it was, but it was like tiny, no tinted windows, nothing like that. And I was like, I want to sit in the middle. So I sat in the middle. We drove in. We drove right in. There was nobody there. I didn't know that the cops would pull you over. Again, I hadn't had the conversation with my sister about them getting stopped. We drove in. We drove in through all the little streets. We didn't go precisely inside.
Yeah.
But I drove as far as going in. There was beds. There was balls that were like not inflated. There was, you know, paperwork. There was, I mean, you name it, it was out there. There was machinery. There was like things like that. And obviously I'm sure that a lot of people that go pull stuff out or take things with them. So it wasn't like necessarily left there on purpose. But it was at night. It was like maybe like 10.
You went at night?
Yeah, it was like 10:30, 11 when we went.
What?
So we didn't get off our car. We just drove. Yeah. We drove through all the little streets, so we got to see like the entirety of kind of the building. You're talking about like 2000.
Yeah.
2006 maybe.
Yeah.
And then I go back home and I was like, oh my god, I went to.
So it wasn't just one building. It was just
so it was literally like a little
like a little town. Yeah.
So the hospital is like Imperial Highways like this, and then there was like the South Campus and then the North Campus. The South Campus is there's.
Whoa! What is that? Scroll back up.
Where?
That thing. What is that?
This thing right here.
Yeah. What is that? That looks weird.
That looks like the outline of a body.
Like it was a body that just decomposed there.
You know that so the Downey, the Poor Farm had a cemetery, and the cemetery is like on the southwest side of the property. So it's off of I think it's Garfield Avenue and like Gardendale, I think it's the street. And there was a big flood in the early 1900s, and the caskets came up out of the ground and like were like down the street.
Wow.
Yeah, and so and the cemetery is still there. Like I said, they started tearing down the buildings. They tore them down already. They're supposedly going to build another county facility there, either like a probation office or something. But what are they doing with the bodies? Because like I said, there's still like a cemetery on the southwest corner of the property. What they're going to do with it, I don't know. But for sure, I know that I read that bodies came up out of the ground during the flood in the early 1900s.
What the hell?
Yeah. But I wonder, because from like videos that I've seen and even just going in, driving in, I'm telling you, there was a bunch of stuff, like beds and stuff like that. We kind of like, I want to say we crashed into it, but we kind of stopped, right? And then we saw like a shed, and the shed doors were like open, and there was stuff in there. Like I wonder why it looked like they just like clocked out of work one day and then never came back.
And that's the thing that like no one's been able to like explain, like, or that at least that I've seen, you know, like in when I did the research, it was just like literally like when in the 50s when they started kind of becoming that state-of-the-art hospital, they were building more on the north side. And for whatever reason in the 80s, they said, oh yeah, we're moving all this stuff over there. And they just left all these buildings, the beds, the, like you said, like the medical records. Cause I've seen videos of like people that like were in there doing like what they call like urban explorers or whatever. And like literally like opening up filing cabinets and like pulling out like patient files like they had there. And supposedly, one of the last people that was like there was a person that was disabled that lived there. They still lived on the property until like the 70s. So even though they had abandoned like because the nurses and the doctors used to live there, so that whole neighborhood was like, you know, like the houses for the doctors, for the nurses, for the orderlies, all that. They all lived there, so they lived and they worked there. So it was like a whole neighborhood of houses for them, and then there was a fence, and then that's where the facilities were. You know what I mean? But so for whatever reason, it's just like it was just randomly one day they all decided to leave, and they abandoned all these houses, they abandoned all these buildings, and just left them there to rot. And they literally like stayed there till this year when they finally started tearing it down. And it's like, you know, why would you leave all that hospital equipment and, you know, whatever there? So, and I know that it had a couple times that had people that were like homeless that got in like that, like right that picture right there when that building burned. I think one of the one of the houses that was like really beautiful there. That was like the house of like the doctor.
And that was on the property.
That was on the property, yeah. Because right now like the only building that was still being used was like the admin building. And the admin building is like this really beautiful like building that they still use it. So that's the only place. So you see people like walking in and out of. Everything else is fenced off. But there's like a school. There's like I think it used to be St. Matthias. Now it's like Pius or something. That's like right down the street. And then there's like the courthouse in the front. So there's like this little like just hidden kind of just acres of property that was just abandoned for like decades. And it's kind of things like, why would you just abandon that? You know what I mean? It's weird. It's so it was conspiracy kind of thing. Like why would you leave?
Yeah.
You know?
There was like blood vials left, like DNA, like I mean, think about it. It was a fully functioning like
urine samples.
There was a bunch of stuff,
mummified body parts.
What?
You know, like man, it was a whole thing.
So that's what they're saying, that it's just too fucking weird that like you wouldn't even take records. Aren't records like
so that's
super confidential?
That's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah, and they left that. They left people's DNA. They left.
Oh my god!
Like, it's just like crazy.
People's legs and stuff.
Yeah, it's. I'm telling you, it's really interesting. It's crazy that it's there, and it's crazy that there's no answers either. It's nuts. Mm-mm. You think the city knows?
I'm sure they do. I mean,
yeah,
you know, they have to know. I know that somebody had written a book about the history of the hospital, and I was trying to get my hands on it, but it was like out of print, like $600 kind of thing. I'm like, I'm not paying for that thing.
I wonder why would that happen? Why wouldn't they reprint it?
It's just one of those things where like, because I know it happened with like in Paramount. There was a book that was written about the history of Paramount that was written by a school teacher, and she wrote it like in the 80s. And it's one of those things where they printed, you know, 100 books, and then that was it, you know. And I was trying to find that book, and same thing, it was like on eBay for like $200 or whatever. And then I just happened to go to the Historical Society meeting, and one of the guys that was there, his mom was the one that wrote the book.
Whoa!
That's cool.
And I was like, oh man, I go like that's awesome. I've been trying to get my hands on the book. He's like, here. And I was like,
what?
So he just gave me. He's like, dude, I got boxes of these at home, you know. So, it might just be a thing like that where you know they wrote the book and then they did a few printings of it, and then they were just like, you know, there's no incentive for them to print it again, you know. And
okay, I was thinking of something that there might be some.
Let's go with the conspiracy.
There might be some stuff in there that they don't want the public.
Shut them down.
They don't want you to know.
Yeah. the city of Paramount doesn't want you to know, Amber.
What is it? No, that's...
They want to keep you fed with the teriyaki chicken, going to the DVD rental store, and visiting the Zamboni. That's what Paramount wants you to do.
That's it.
And go to horchateria and eat concha. That's what they're feeding you.
Do you remember what it was called?
The book of the Downey.
Yeah.
I think it was just called like Rancho Los Amigos, like History of Rancho Los Amigos or something like that.
Do you know too that I Rancho Los Amigos, the not the asylum part, but the other side. When I was born, I was transferred there. That was my first hospital that I went to after being born, and I went to Rancho all the way up till I was about 11. So before they made it into, because now it's a rehabilitation center. So before it was a rehabilitation center, it was a hospital for children, so orthopedic hospital.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, because my dad was actually there. Like my dad.
Really?
Yeah, my dad. He had like diabetes. You know, he had like a lot of health issues, and he ended up having to have. He went there for rehab. Like he had a bypass surgery on his leg to like. He had like a vein replacement in his leg. He went there to recover, and then they discovered that the bypass didn't take, so they had to amputate his leg below the knee. And after they amputated his leg, he had to stay there to like do rehab and stuff. So like I used to go to the North Campus like all the time. Like I remember I was in high school, so I used to like take the bus and go there and go visit him for like, you know, an hour or whatever, and then like take off. So it was always that's why it was always weird to me, because I was always there at the North Campus. And the South Campus is like it might as well be 100 miles away, because getting there from the North Campus, it's, you know, you got to go past the parking lot of the court, like, and then cross Imperial Highway. Yeah, it's not close at all. So that's what it was always that kind of like mystery, like why is this place over here so state of the art, and then they just abandon, you know, the
maybe
other
that's
side
why I
of
was
it.
able to come in. The spirits were like, "Welcome back, my child," and I was like, "All right, I'm in."
Take me.
I was like, I'm gonna return you to your
I
mom.
know.
But yeah, that's one of the places that it was pretty cool, like to have near, you know, growing up, like near us, and everyone's like, "Oh, you live by the asylum." I'm like, "Yeah, I've been inside in the car,
Yeah,
the windows up and the doors locked."
me too. Me too. I'm can't, like I said, I'd be more worried about like, you know, stabbing myself with some rusty nail and having a tetanus shot or whatever. Because it's like
We got to do a on our way episode
let's do it
on at the asylum
So
to drive through.
Talking about on our way. The next video I'm doing after this Farmer John one is on the donut hole in La Puente.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it.
So we talked about it. So I haven't done it yet. So
we should.
I got the history. Let's go do it.
Let's what is it? Kill two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
On our way and Californiography.
We got to bring it back. We got to. Honestly, it's caught on, and I think we have to come back at least for a couple more episodes.
That's the collab that everybody wants, man.
Yeah. Right. Javier.
The committee that Javier's on says that they need us back.
And right after that, we need the angle camera.
Not gonna happen.
Javier, thanks for coming out and doing the podcast, brother.
Of course, man. Always a pleasure, man. Always
Tell
a
us where
pleasure.
we can find you.
Yeah, no. So if you just Google Foo Howser, FOO Howser, I should be able to pop up there. But yeah, you find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Californiography, California, and then with an O at the end, and then GRAPHY. Like I said, Foo Howser. I'm on there. You know, I would appreciate a follow, a like, whatever, and you know, just and if there's any history stuff that, you know, that sounds interesting to you, hit me up. I'll see if I can dig into the history of it.
Yeah.
Cool. And then on the link tree, it shows all your
Oh yeah, all the MindBuzz appearances, baby.
all the appearances.
Yeah.
You got to add another one on there
This
too.
one's gonna get added too.
This was fun. Thanks for scaring us.
No, of course, anytime.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep.
You're
tonight.
not gonna sleep tonight, huh?
No.
And no lights on. I don't care what you say.
I'm gonna sleep right here on top of the table.
This is where the haunting happened, though. Just kidding.
Oh man. All the links to Javier's stuff is going to be down in the show description. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all that cool stuff. Follow us on Instagram at the MindBuzz. All the links to Javier's stuff, Californiography, is going to be down in the show notes. Go give him a follow. Go show some love. What was that? What are you throwing?
I tried to scare you and try to stone you. I'm sorry.
This is chaos. Chaos.
Chaos is ensuing.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you in the head.
It's like the end of Joker. What do you mean?
I didn't think it was gonna. I can't see over the TV, so I just threw it.
That was actually a good throw.
Thanks.
I commend you for that.
Thank you.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Javier.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thanks. Oh, and then we brought him
Some
stuff.
pan.
Look at
Atáscate, Matías, que esto no hay todos los días.
that. Boom. Thanks, man.
The MindBuzz.
Peace and love. I'm not sleeping tonight.
Bye.